Today we have two very special guests, Mike and Daniel Blackaby.
Keep your weapon at your side.
As a Christian, you are now spiritually alive in a world that's spiritually dead.
Must be strong. Pierce the darkness with the light as you go along. Living with one foot in heaven, breaking the enemy's power. In the strength of Jesus, we can stand in the darkest hour. Living with one foot in heaven, ready when He calls our name. For believers to live is Christ, to die is only gain.
Welcome to Heritage of Truth. Today we have two very special guests, Mike and Daniel Blackaby. Now they are from a family that knows how to pass on the heritage of truth. Their grandfather is Henry Blackaby, and their father is Richard Blackaby. And I just welcome you, young men. To me, you're boys, but young men. And they have written a book called When Worlds Collide, Stepping Up and Standing Out in an Anti-God Culture. Now, you told me, and the book is pretty much being marketed as a book for young adults, people in college and possibly high school. But I'm telling you all, this is for everybody. This is a good book. I couldn't put it down. So would you tell us a little bit about the format of this book and the structure of it?
Yeah, well, we really wrote the book out of a heart for seeing young people who fall away from their faith after they graduate high school or down the road, and so that bothered us so much that we started looking at it like, why does this happen? What can we do to try and stop some of this? And so we wrote this book kind of geared towards that. Keep preventing this from happening. And the premise is really, we say as a Christian, you're now spiritually alive in a world that's spiritually dead, and so you're occupying the same space as people that are fundamentally different from you. And so when that happens, collisions are going to be inevitable because you're so different. Your value system is different, your beliefs are different, morals, everything about you. Spiritually, you're alive while they're spiritually dead. And so what we look at is just three different approaches that are often taken when these two worlds come into contact, these two very different worlds. And so we look at these three responses. Two of them are not good, and then one of them is this sort of the case that we make to be this third one. And so the first is, we use the analogy of a cave-in. Somebody who goes out into the world and just sort of compromises what they believe, and they try to blend in and look just like the world, and so they have no impact on it because they're the very same. There's no distinction between them and the world. They're in the world and they're also of the world. Exactly. And so and the second response that's not good is to be a cave dweller, where you try to seclude yourself away from the world and build up walls to keep the world out because you're afraid it might tarnish you, and so you hide away from the world, and that's not good either because you're not of the world, but you're not in the world either. And so this third response, we challenge the readers to be colliders, who are in the world but not of the world, who go out there, they stand firm on who they are as a Christian, what they believe in, but they're not afraid to engage the world around them. And because of that, God uses their life to impact their culture and change the people, change the world that they're in.
Yeah, it is really not just a good book in that it's challenging us, it's funny. My goodness, some of your stories, I was laughing aloud. It's interesting for me to actually meet you because after, when I was reading it, I was thinking, wow, these guys seem a little bit on the wild side, but you're so quiet.
Like, are these guys really that stupid? Do they do this stupid stuff?
Yeah, but don't we all?
Oh yeah.
We all do.
It's fun to laugh at yourself.
Yeah, and really that's one of our goals in writing the book, is really to not put up any mask of ourselves, and to really put ourselves into it as we're not the experts of this. We're not these perfect, super spiritual Christians that have the answers and we're just dishing it out to people. But we're people that we've seen this. We've struggled with this. We've made this mistake. And, we're walking with you on the same journey. Here's what God's taught us. It's a journey together more than just we're the experts and you needed to get this right. But really, here's who we are. Here's where we've our strengths. Here's our many weaknesses. And, trying to encourage people. We're trying to do our best to collide with the world. You can too. We serve the same God. We're under the same commission by Him. I really hope the book can be a rallying point for Christians, young and old, to kind of join the movement.
We're hoping by the end of the book you've gotten to know us too. That really was a goal. Put ourselves in there, so we're not kind of this faceless author just telling you these principles, but that you can laugh and get to know who we are and our personalities. We're complete opposite personalities, and so that came into play a lot. And just putting personal stories in there, just like connect to the readers.
Yeah, it was very honest, which I appreciated. So why don't you tell us what you're both doing now, because you're doing different things too.
Well, I'm a student right now. I just finished my first year, my master's in seminary, pursuing that.
And you're married.
And I've been married for just over 1 year, so that's
newlywed still.
So newlywed, and that's been it's been a journey. And I'm currently working on my first fiction novel trilogy.
Wonderful.
That should be coming out in the spring. First book. So.
And do you have a title yet?
Yeah, it's going to be The Lost City Chronicles. Is the name of the series.
So what genre is it?
It would be young adult fantasy. There's a lot of allegory in it, Christian message, but it's also, I hope it's an entertaining story. So seeing where God leads me in that way.
Yeah.
Okay, and tell us what you're doing.
I've been on staff at First Baptist Church, Jonesboro. It's just outside of Atlanta for just over a year, actually about a year and a couple weeks. And I'm the college and young adults pastor there. And so I get to work with really a lot of the age group that this book is geared towards. And so it's been fun to apply a lot of that message into this ministry.
So how can people? This is kind of a call to action, isn't it?
Yeah.
And what are you hoping people will actually do? Like, give us some actual activities they can get involved in to put this into practice.
One thing is just we want them to realize that it's not boring to be a Christian, and that you're not missing out on all that the world has to offer by following Christ. And that's something we've both seen, is that a lot of young people, they feel like, well, being a Christian doesn't allow me to do these things. I can't go out and do all this stuff that my friends are doing, which is destructive stuff, but they kind of feel like they're missing out. And so they're like, as soon as they get the chance, a lot of them dive into some of this stuff, and they feel like they've been missing out their whole lives. When if you talk to somebody who's lived in the world and has been saved out of it a little bit later in life, they'd say, I wish I would have grown up in a Christian home. I wish before all this stuff destroyed me, I wish I would have known there was another way to live. And so what we're hoping is just to show them, and that's a lot of why we put some of these stories in there, is to show them that you can have a lot of fun being a Christian. You can, and it's real fun, it's real joy, it's not gone in the morning. And so one thing we hope that they take from it is just to embrace who they are as a Christian and to enjoy it, to live life to the full, the way God intended. Because when the world sees that collides with the world, because it's so different from what they know and from what they have.
Another goal we have for people when they finish the book, most of the book is application. It's here's the issue, here's what we can do about it now. How are we going to do it? And it's we feel a lot of Christians, young and old, sometimes get the sense that if I'm not doing a cross-country stadium crusade, then I can't really have much of an impact. Or they keep on waiting to do it. Here's this big thing I'm going to do at my school. I'm going to have this big gathering, but as they're waiting for these big things, each day there's hundreds of opportunities to collide with the world, with their peers at school and at work, and we're missing them because we're not recognizing that they're there. we're just trying to see something, what big thing can we do, not realizing that God's giving us, every day is many smaller opportunities to collide. And so what we're trying to, we hope with people when they read the book is just to realize that, no matter who you are, how big or small you feel your influence is, if you have any, relationships, if you're anywhere, you're going to go get groceries, you're going to come in contact with people, and you're going to have an opportunity, even in little ways, to make a difference. And if you take each one of those faithfully, I think you'll look back and realize that you've been having a big influence in your surrounding, and that God really has given you opportunities that maybe a lot of times we miss.
Yeah, and a lot of times that's through relationships.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Even just superficial relationships.
And young people are so plugged in today, through Twitter and Facebook and whatever else. There's you can actually have an impact all over the world in ways that you've never been able to before.
That's true.
And so you can collide with with people on the other side of the world now because of technology. And like Daniel said, a lot of the book, about the first 4 chapters are kind of laying out what the book is about and these 3 different responses. And then the rest of the book is application. We take some of the major collisions that everyone goes through and apply them. So we'd say, how do you do this? How do you respond to this? Mm-hmm. And so hopefully you come away with a lot of application.
Yeah. Well, colliding is it can be very peaceful, but basically the colliding, the definition that you're using is that because it's like 2 things that cannot coexist are kind of hitting head on, and it can be a very peaceful collision, but it can also be pretty tough. And I thought you did a really good job of presenting that whole concept and challenging the church to start being the church. So, as each of us as individuals. So, I thank you for that. The book, it's just wonderful. I hope it does very well. And would you please give us how people can find you online and any other information you want to give them for contact?
Yeah.
Or whatever?
Well, you can get the book at any Christian bookstore, and also online at Amazon.com, ChristianBooks.com, and if you just Google it, it'll pop up. You'll be able to get it online, several places.
Okay.
And if you want to connect with us, we love just hearing feedback, and really what's made the whole journey special is hearing, individuals saying, this chapter happened with this specific situation. It's not just this broad, faceless relationship, but really connecting. And we have a new website for the book called thecollisionzone.com.
Thecollisionzone.com. Okay.
And from there you can link to a Twitter account, and some of our personal emails and things are on there too. So we'd love to hear, interact with people if you had questions or wanted to talk more. We'd love to relate to you.
Well, thank you for passing on the heritage of our faith and for being faithful to family legacy.
Yeah, thank you for giving us that opportunity.
Okay, well, it was great to meet you, Dan.
Yeah.
And you, Daniel, and you, Mike.
Thank you.
Yes.
For believers to